Call the meeting to order. This is the regular monthly meeting of the Morton County Park Board for October 2025. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any changes that need to be made to the agenda for today's meeting?
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for today's meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, minutes of the previous meetings. Does anybody have any corrections that need to be made to the minutes from the August meeting?
I'll move to approve the August meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the August meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, monthly bills and payroll. Commissioner Morrell.
I went through the bills for the month and they all seems to be in order, so I make a motion to approve bills for the month of, October.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the bills for the month of October. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, first item on the regular agenda for the meeting is the application for a wedding at Harmon Lake. Cody?
Mr. Chairman, I presented everybody with the application that was submitted. I'd like you guys all to look through that. And also at the format of the application itself, because this will be our first one, and discuss anything that could be added or taken off of the application. And then this is an application for a wedding at Harmon Lake. And I'd like you guys to discuss any further stipulations. And after this, I'll draft up a letter accepting the application or declining it for the reasons that you state tonight.
Cody, one piece of clarification on this. For facilities requested, she has gravel pit by Shelter 1 for event tent. I'm assuming they mean the group pad?
I'm assuming just the gravel parking lot in front of the
Yeah, it's in here somewhere.
probably the gravel parking lot in front of the shelter.
Where did I see that?
For their tables or.
Yeah, that's right.
On the next page,
Okay,
page
gravel
2,
shelter next to Shelter 1, okay?
event tent on gravel next to shelter.
Mr. Chair, questions that I have that aren't noted in here, whether as an option to mark by the applicant, but what are we doing as far as cleanup and security?
In our application that Wendy drew up here, as far as security, I'm not sure if this is research-based from Wendy, but she has events over 200 attendees will require private security. But in any event, you as the board could stipulate that for this specific event, you would require security.
I know that there is something written in code someplace. I thought it was at 100 as a
Okay.
threshold. But Kevin and I were talking about that just minutes ago too, but I can't remember where that's cited at because I've had to reference that for other
Okay.
events personally.
And that may be something we need to change in the application itself.
I think maybe we should look at the fact that there's alcohol being served as a purpose for security and not worry so much about the number. I mean,
I agree.
even if you have 50 people there, you want to have security to make sure minors aren't drinking.
Yes, I agree.
The other question with that, Mr. Chair, too, is it doesn't say in here, but are they providing a bar or are the people going to be working off of their respective campsite? And if so, then there's a need for more control, oversight.
Right.
Who's going
I-
to be responsible?
I know in the past, at other events that have been held out at Harmon, if there's been a bar provided, it has been contracted out to a local establishment that actually holds a liquor license.
Correct.
Is that something you'd like to require them to have a business set up there?
Mr. Chair, an opinion would be having that as a disclaimer, if they're having a bar set up, and obviously if it is, that establishment must be, Harmon is beyond the city limits, so they would have to be licensed in Morton County.
It's got a list for vendors on the application, and she didn't mark it, so I'd assume they're not gonna be bringing up.
That's the
But
question.
just an FYI, what happens when someone hires someone to serve alcohol, it can be someone who's bar in Bismarck. They just have to have a state license, and they have to come to our office and get a special permit.
Correct.
Then, I mean, we have it happen all the time.
Okay.
Yep.
How about if the organizers of the wedding
According to what they're.
they don't want to use an outside bar, but they want to provide, say, beer, and set up a bunch of big coolers at the shelter and have beer for the guests. You know, they provide the alcohol.
Okay.
I mean, that's a possibility too. I mean,
And there's nothing against that in the law. I mean, we've had that
DJ.
come up before, and people have a wedding at the post, let's say, then come in and say, hey, we're gonna be giving free alcohol, do we need any kind of permit? And they don't.
And they don't.
And again, page 2, for this specific application, page 2, they did cross out alcohol.
Is it crossed out, or is it marked?
or is it
By-
Ken's
Well,
got a
it's-
good point.
because they have food marked. and it's the
Correct.
same
Well,
line.
it's the same line. Alcohol is part of the food, drink, alcohol.
See, Ken's looking at it the other way. They mark the food and the alcohol would be the two they're gonna have.
Yeah.
I
that's-
think
depends
that
on
was
how you look
because
at
there's
that.
no checkbox next to it.
Maybe that's just a clarification on the
with
form itself, is just
Yep.
separating that.
Yeah, when they use the same mark to cross out alcohol that they use to indicate they're having the others,
We
It's-
should assume they'll have
it's a
alcohol.
bit of ambiguity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if they have a reception, they'll probably have alcohol.
Yes.
Then are we gonna have them sign some kind of disclaimer or something as far as liability if somebody gets hurt during this wedding
I
or?
think whatever, if we have a standard already, since Auditor Rowan says that happens now,
Okay,
I would say whatever is in our customary procedure currently is what they would have to accommodate as well.
I'm thinking we set some parameters for that with the vendors last year, the year before, providing a certificate of liability insurance, identifying Morton County as additionally insured. I guess for clarification's sake, it's more so this being the first formal request, making sure that we have our processes in place
Thank you.
before
Yes.
we do any granting on this.
Thanks, Patrick.
He has a hammer.
Look behind you. Clock's up.
You have 2 minutes. So now if somebody comes in and requests to do this, do you currently require a waiver?
No, we don't, I mean,
We
it's,
require nothing if it's them serving.
no, I mean, they can do without us they can do that without even letting us know. I mean, they just happen to, once in a while ask us that question, we say, no, you don't.
Okay.
If you're giving it away, you don't need any permit.
and that has happened in the past on the Grainers. I do know that they just reserve the shelter for the weekend and then just have a small wedding with 30, 40 people or something and have a big gathering and
Yep.
just do it.
I think the difference is here, they wanna go down to the beach and have a
Right.
little section.
Right.
And then come back up. But that's to be the same at the shelter then, as down there. And if they wanna drink, they're gonna run back to their camper. That's just,
Yeah,
Way it
and,
works.
and they're still gonna be, enforcing the rules as far as quiet time and all that stuff, same as you do any other weekend or whatever, so.
And patrol's still gonna go through their prescribed rotations. But again, the question lies, I'm reading page 3 at the very top. I would maybe just offer the suggestion if we want to have our Parks Director to revamp the application and ask them to complete it again. But like I said, the question for cleanup, because there's nothing noted in here that identifies cleanup. Clarifying, maybe just separating out alcohol as a separate line item. And confirming that.
Would you just like clean up as a statement on the application?
Disposing of refuse, making sure that they clean up after themselves. And if not, should there be a deposit? Because again, this could be more than one time a year occurrence if, word gets out, people like the ambiance of it, the setting, the scenery, then who's gonna pay to clean it up every time? Our staff?
Do we need to slightly quantify cleanup as far as like trash should be bagged and deposited in the on-site dumpsters?
I would support that. And again, it's not discouraging this, it's just making sure that Morton County Parks is clear of its responsibilities, and the parties are clear of their responsibilities.
And can I suggest in this case, instead of redoing or having the party redo the application, to include the trash cleanup in the acceptance letter that we'll send out to them?
And I would say if that's the case, they would have to be signed by them.
Yeah, and then I think going forward, probably change the application, but in lieu of them filling everything out again, just if we have some additional terms just in this situation, put it in the letter.
Did we decide about putting something about security in here?
Gotta clarify if it's 100 or 200.
Because
Right.
I think the biggest concern is minors drinking. I mean, that's the whole purpose for security at a wedding at, say, for instance, the Moose Club. I mean, it's to prevent minors from drinking.
And that's not what they tell me. They're watching you.
That you're a straight minor?
Yeah. But I mean, if we don't have security and say if minors do get a hold of some alcohol and start drinking and then somebody gets hurt, does the county get, in big trouble for that?
Right. Because that's liability.
So I think maybe we'll get some clarification probably on the number of people required for that, and I don't know, I mean, if it's straight number of people, that really doesn't protect the minor.
I think you
Right.
should say if there's gonna be alcohol served.
In a litigation society, and this is opinion, but in a litigation society, this body would still authorize this event. So if something were to happen, lawsuits would come back to this body.
So then, would the board feel more comfortable right out of the gate just saying if there's gonna be alcohol served, we would require security?
Yes.
I think so.
What about those gatherings down at Grainer? If they're having weddings with 40 people.
Just renting.
And what about
They're
what
just-
every average weekend when there's campers down there and you got kids running around?
I think we should keep it to the number of people.
Number of
and
people.
Not,
Or is it because that this is an event that we have sanctioned?
Approved of.
Right.
Because those other events, if we haven't approved it, then they're kind of doing it on their own
Yeah.
without our
So
knowledge.
you'll get 10 campers that get together and all of a sudden there's 50 people around there.
yeah.
We didn't sanction it. It's not on us.
And that is the number one hinge point in, again, litigation.
Why don't we just ask legal to give us an opinion?
We're all laughing.
That's why they're on the
Well,
payroll.
let me, why don't we
It
start
is.
with, let me find that document that I've previously gotten from the sheriff's department on it, and Cody and I will take a look at that and see what guidance is specifically in there. Because I know for our bike race, we do provide security on that, but we do also hire out the running of the bar to somebody with a liquor license, but,
Regulations out there.
I'd say once we rate it up.
Are you guys selling the alcohol down there for that, or are you giving it away?
He does need to look at it.
yes and yes. So if you're a registered participant in the race, you get a free ticket. But if you
Paid your
are
entry.
anybody in the campground, you can just come up and buy one. So,
So maybe that's the difference, if we're allowing them to sell alcohol at the event, maybe that's when they should have to have security.
Yeah, I would think then, I've been to events where they sell alcohol, there's some security.
Some good legal questions. So what we need to do and what we should.
Mr. Chair, can I offer, again, going off your thought, is we just issue correspondence back to them and they sign and send it back to us, but in there, of course, we got sanitation, clarification for alcohol, but maybe have the statement in there as well, is that they will abide by all state and local laws.
There you go. Minors can't drink.
Because then at least that shows we're stepping forward, putting the onus on them.
And if they're not gonna have security though, that puts a little bit of pressure on your camp host. He's gonna, I mean, if he sees a 10-year-old walking across a parking lot with a beer, I mean, he's gonna do something about it. Or he should.
well, in which case then, if that would happen and the sheriff is called, then the sheriff is probably gonna shut down their event.
Correct.
Or we could just ask if a deputy could make a couple of loops through there during the event and just kind of look at, the situation. I mean, not really provide security, but just make a pass through.
Which they would do anyway.
Yeah.
So does the board feel comfortable with the acceptance letter going back to the applicant, just kind of reiterating that they must abide by all current laws for the event? Or do we
And
feel
campground rules.
Do we feel we need to go more specific with security?
I think that would be
I
all
don't
right.
think so.
Okay. Cody, you got that down?
But in the meantime, definitely invite, the form is a good start, but now we have more dialogue on that, knowing how it's gonna be, information's gonna be needed, so we
Yep.
make better decisions for the future.
And then I've just got two more questions on it. About having a DJ, and on the back of my notes, there's what Google says about decibels. And I'm sure any qualified DJ would be able to measure how many decibels their equipment is putting out. Maybe in that letter that we state how many decibels the DJ is allowed to play what level they're allowed to play their music at for the event.
That would be advisable, but the other consideration is also what direction those speakers going.
Right.
And that's something we can set up for future too, is this is location, this is the configuration, this is what we will allow. Because, case in point is if he's pointing to the south, it's gonna bounce off that water and all the people to the south will hear it regardless, they're gonna hear it. So, food for thought, but I would encourage that for conversation with, or setting that as a requirement. What's your suggestion for decibel level?
Well, at an event up close, it says you can go up to 100 to 107 decibels, but further away,
That's my pickup.
yeah. And then, further out, 70 to 85.
So I think maybe for the concern of this application, that I'm less concerned with the measurement at the shelter as I am with what's on the surrounding campsites.
Right,
Because if they want to go
Jam
deaf,
out.
that's fine, but.
right.
So I think in this case, if we're going to set a measurement on it, do we take the measurement either from the group pad next to it, or from the pull-through spot next to it, or, you know, it should be some distance.
Yep. And like we were talking, we could take measurements at the site and over, and we could set a limit for at the site based off of those measurements we take.
Great.
In all
'Cause you'll
practic-
find- Go ahead.
In all practicality though, Mr. Chair, are we actually going to measure decibels?
Usually when that comes into play is if there's a complaint. Because if we don't, then we've really got nothing to stand on. I mean, even for our knowledge, I don't think it'd be a bad thing to go up and try to take some measurements just to get an idea of what we're,
Dealing with.
rather than slapping an arbitrary feeling on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take some measurements so far out, and then you go in and check at the shelter, and you're going, that's too high because this is here, so we need to lower this one just a little to get that down, kind of thing. It's, you'd have to play with it a little bit.
And
Or
like
you
I
take your pickup out there and you park it in the shelter, and we'll do some decibel measurements.
And like I said to Cody earlier, the wind plays a huge difference in sound
Yeah.
travel. I mean, if the wind's blowing from a certain direction, the houses over here are gonna hear it and houses on the other side aren't. I mean, it's hard to measure decibels
Right.
when you don't know what the weather is gonna be like.
Right.
It's raining, anything. Yeah, on that hill's northwest wind most of the time.
There'd be some good reverb in there too, since it's a tin roof. So I would be interested to know just what, you know, sound level readings are gonna come up around there just from the acoustics of that. And like you say, wind direction, something we can't predict, but I think we just have to make a swag at it and see.
Well, for this instance too, though, wouldn't that also be covered with complying with state and local laws and campground regulations? I mean, it's quiet times noted on the campground, but
Right, but before that, when the DJ's running, like, I would think that, I mean, this is my personal feeling, but I would think that the DJ needs to be shut down by quiet time.
Yes.
I agree.
Which is 11, right?
Yep.
And that's when they've stated they would shut it down in
Okay.
the application.
And then, but then it's before that is how loud we want to let them be
Right.
with the DJ.
Yep.
I guess that would follow normal courtesies. And if there's a complaint, there's a complaint. We'll have to address it.
And our current camp host will talk to anybody with music playing any time of the day if he can hear it at his camper. So that he's definitely going to hear this from his camper.
We had down at Grainer's this summer, there's this guy who rents the shelter, and he does this, I think this was his third summer, and he does this little fries and gravy thing where he makes this big deep fryer with french fries, and he makes gravy, and he sets up a disc jockey thing, and he plays music, and people are dancing in the parking lot. But he runs it from about 5 in the afternoon till about 9 o'clock at night, and he shuts it down. And there was one time this summer where it was getting pretty loud. I could hear it all the way across the other side of the campground. And I just went over and asked him, I said, can you tone it down just a little bit? And he was happy to do it. I mean, no problem. So typically, you're not gonna really have any big issues like that, but,
Work together.
yeah.
So what's the direction we want to give Cody on the noise then? Do we want to let it go and see what happens? Do we want to try to put some limits on it?
Mr. Chair, for this instance, I think we let it go, but in the interim, that Cody does record, so at least we have knowledge of it.
I would also suggest let the people who've submitted the application know that the campground host does have the authority, if it gets too loud, to ask them to turn it down. So they're aware of that, so they don't act surprised if he comes over and says it's too loud.
Right. And in the letter, we could state that the music needs to be played just at a reasonable level.
Right. At the discretion of the camp host.
Right.
And we won't be taking any measurements here until August,
Right.
so you'll have events that go before that probably.
So to reconfirm then, we got, as far as that letter, we got adherence to the law, adherence to courtesies within the campground, confirmation of cleanup, sanitation, dumpsters, trash. Was there something else?
Confirming the
Oh,
alcohol.
confirming the alcohol. So, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion based with that stipulation and that Cody receives confirmation from the applicants, signed confirmation from the applicants, that we approve this application for an event August 22nd, 2026 at Morton County Park System located at Harmon Lake.
Okay, so I wasn't writing as you were saying right away. Adherence to laws.
Laws.
And then the garbage.
Garbage, courtesy with the campground host, and clarifying alcohol. And then for authorizing the application request for August 22nd at Harmon Lake.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of this application. Is there any further discussion? I guess one thing I would like to bring up on that is, do we need to make any kind of consideration for what they want to do on the beach? They
I was
aren't,
just gonna mention, they are requesting to, haul disabled family members down to the beach,
Side by side.
side by side. I don't see a problem with that.
so late August, it could potentially be a hot day. There could potentially be other people on the beach at 4:30. I'd be curious to know what their expectation is for it. Are they expecting that everybody's gonna vacate the beach for this? Are they requesting a portion of the beach? They're setting up their own chairs, I'm assuming.
Right, yeah, they would have to. I
Are they wanting the
don't
beach
know if
quadrant
they
off?
expect to have the beach
Part of it.
private to them. We could,
Not gonna shut the
specify
whole
in the
thing.
letter that the beach has to stay open to all the public, that they can't, kick anyone off.
I would be willing to maybe give them the ability to take the westernmost edge of the beach, kind of over by that other shelter. Because that is generally a lesser used portion, because our kayak rental facility is over on the east side.
Right.
Because my fear is, people spread out on the beach. They're not gonna pack together, and these guys, if they show up, there might be people everywhere to where they're gonna be in the middle of people trying to do this.
Right.
I'm not opposed to, say, giving them, like, okay, guys, how much do you want? Can we give you 25 feet wide and throw some cones down, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a good idea. Just rope off a section for them.
I would agree. Because again, basically what we have to do for Morton County Parks is identify these parameters, so when future applications come, these questions are already known.
Yep.
Okay, any further discussion on that? We do have a motion and a second to approve this. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Cody, next item on the agenda, park updates.
I guess I handed out a collections worksheet that shows, since we didn't have a meeting in September, it shows both September and October at the bottom. So, month of September through October, 4,800 at Grainer, 1186 at Harmon, $25 at the Fort Rice campground, totaling $6,011. And then you can see the comparisons from 2020 through 2025. Which looks like we're pretty even keel average of the last number of years. If you guys have any questions or comments on the collections.
I guess it's kind of stabilizing post-COVID, we can see that.
Right, yep.
I heard of a lot of people selling their campers. I think it's gonna start to drop in the future. Unless something like COVID happens again.
I've heard that too.
They all bought them at that point, and now
Yep.
they've kind of gotten tired of it. Unfortunately.
Well, they realize how expensive and how much work and
Yeah.
everything else camping is.
That's why I never owned one.
It's kind of like with the boat ownership, camper ownership, your two happiest days are the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Yep.
Truth there.
My husband says that, and I said, no, every day I'm on my pontoon is my happiest.
I sold my boat this spring, and this was the first summer I've been without a boat since I've been probably 25 years old, and I didn't regret it one bit.
Really? So I told my wife I would never be without a boat.
I thought that too.
Yeah.
I was starting to make excuses not to go because it's too much work putting it in, I always fish alone. And it's too windy today, I'm not going. I was coming up with excuses not to go last year, so sold it.
I saw something today, it was, your average hobby has a $255 annual expense.
Wow.
$255?
I don't know what kind of hobby that is.
Yeah.
The what?
Average hobby has a $255 expense, not in my world.
Is that like Dragon Main, like 4
I think
times
per
a year?
day, maybe.
That's less than a weekend camping for sure. Right? What happened in October, just mowing and regular maintenance. We got a new sign down at Grainer. You probably all have seen that. Looks great. We rehung that on, it was originally on talus bar, and we rehung it on 4x6 posts. I think it looks better. The water was shut off at all the parks and winterized. We had the courtesy dock at Grainer lifted out by crane. Alex and I stacked all the picnic tables away, and we re-shingled 2 shelters at Sweetbriar that needed it really bad. So even one of them had some structural and sheeting issues because the shingles had been bad for so long that we had to resheet some of it and retrim. What's coming up, fall projects, we still have to shut off electricity to the camper pad, and I was just gonna pick your guys' brain and what would be a good shut off date for electricity. Kevin, you have a
Well, in
good
the
idea
past,
of
I
the
think
green?
they always left it on through the first weekend of deer
First weekend
season,
of deer season, I heard that.
is what the past they've always
Okay.
done.
Just stick with that, shut her down at
Weather
after
permitting.
the first weekend of deer
They
season.
just pretty much left the power on.
Sounds good to me. I need to get a hold of Waste Management and see it. I think Tim had been having the dumpsters collected just once a month in the winter. I'm wondering if we could put a hold even on our contract and lock the dumpsters up, because what we're seeing in the wintertime and spring is people are bringing their households and stuff from their cabins and filling those dumpsters with that sort of stuff, and in my opinion, that's not what they're there for.
I'm just concerned that if you physically chain them down, they're just gonna leave it in front of the dumpster.
Very possible.
Because I deal with dumpster mess every day in my work.
That's kind of my same opinion about locking any vault toilets, is that they'll do their thing outside the vault toilet if they are locked up.
Would it be an added expense if they were to remove the dumpsters over the winter?
And I've talked about that with Alex, if we could even haul them to the park's yard, then they wouldn't even be on site anymore, but that would be a question for Waste Management if we could physically do that. We don't technically own them, so if we could remove them off the park sites, which in my opinion would be the best option, then
And with Waste Management, we can understand the bureaucracy, that would be a problem in itself.
right.
Even if they would charge a nominal fee to haul them and bring it back, would that be less than what we pay for collections through the
Probably.
winter?
Well, I'll tell
That-
you, we canceled our recycle contract with them here at the courthouse. They charge, there's those bins. They charge me $200 per bin to
Yep.
come pick them up.
Yep. Yep.
I paid $120 a month for them to come 4 times or 2 times to empty them, and then they charged me $300.
Yep.
They came 1 time or $200 and picked all 3 up.
Yep. We can definitely talk about that offline. That's why I used the word bureaucracy.
And Cody's gonna
So-
check with them on these too.
Yep.
Have you and Alex just go hide them in the trees down there somewhere. Leave them on the property, just hide them.
Well, if we can find out if ECO will, if there's a possibility of switching, you could cancel the contract with Waste Management now and not have ECO bring any till the spring.
Right. And you and I have to hash
Well,
you're a lot more up on the.
If I remember
contracts.
correctly, it's about a 3-month process to terminate a
It's
contract.
90 days, yep.
Terminate contract with Waste Management. Because
Yeah.
we did for our personal, and it was an effort.
Yeah, I've done a few of them.
Yep.
So Don and I will hash that out. And then lastly, we'll be pulling and lifting docks. We'll leave the docks out as long as we possibly can, because there's still quite a bit of demand to get in the river for fishing. So I've told folks that we'll leave those in as long as we safely can. Like we can't have the ramps full of ice to pull them out. We'll slide the tractor into the water, but we will leave those in as long as we can. And that's all I have for updates, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I'm curious, what's been feedback from car bodies with the new boat ramp?
Seems well utilized.
Mhm. That's what I see.
Yes. Personally, I love it. It's 5 minutes from my house, and so if I just want to go fishing for an hour, I can zip over there and go fishing for an hour. I'm not out anything.
I think people are happier with the additional parking in the vault toilet, even if they're utilizing the trail.
Yeah, well, the trail, there's always cars parked along that
Always.
trail side. Holy buckets.
Yep.
I only interrupted 3 sets of family photos this year.
Anybody adopt you?
No, and for some reason, nobody wants some
weren't
spandex
a
clad guy
stand-in.
on a bike in their picture either.
Get out of our picture.
You weren't a stand-in for somebody.
I was not.
Put this hat on, says Steve.
Okay, anybody else have anything for the good of the order?
Gotta do your public comment.
Just,
Yeah.
I mentioned to Cody earlier today too, I saw that State Parks is shutting their water off this weekend. Just info.
Okay, if nothing else for Cody, we do have a time for public comment at the meeting, though I do not see any members of the public here. Is there anybody online? Nobody online?
Still have to open and close it.
Okay, I will hereby open and close the public comment period. Anything else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn, second.
Second, you don't need one.
Further discussion? That's right, we don't need discussion. We'll stand adjourned.